Okay, let's begin. Welcome to class. I'm wearing a lumberjack shirt with some Nike golf pants and some Salomon X Ultra hiking shoes because I'm a poser. I don't hike much. I do love the outdoors. But I do golf about 10 years ago. I was really good. I haven't done that much either. Man, I'm getting old. I just love to fish so much. I want to catch big fish. Let's pray, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, wind. Let's pray for everyone in the cold today, that everyone stays warm, and the homeless find shelter and food, and have some warm food. We thank God for the food and the shelter and the school and the clothes and everything we have that we take for granted, and we pray that we are able to share with others our whole lives and serve them and help them. Amen. That's what life is all about. It's making others happy. Now we have homework. I'm going to do these questions, and if you have any other questions, you can ask me. But you have, I think you know this, but you have all the answers in the back of your textbook, right? So you can check your answers if you get stuck on one, or you're not sure if you're right. Go to the back of the book and you all the answers, not all the odd answers, not all the even answers. Every single answer is there to see if you're right or not. Okay, so if you don't get it, you can ask me. I'm not sure about number 13. I got 2 and they got 6. Say what? But anyway, these are sum product factoring. Again, my symbol for sum product is SP. And you need 2 numbers that multiply to negative 20. That's the product. That's what they multiply to. And the number in front of X, or in this case, in front of B, is the sum. That's what they add to. Once you find those numbers, you just put them in the brackets. You may find 2 numbers that multiply to negative 20 and add to positive 19. Thank you. Oop, I almost put X. B plus 20 and B subtract 1. Perfect. If you put X there, again, I would mark it right. It's unless you did it a second time. But if you make one silly mistake like that, I'm fine with that. I'm a nice guy. How about negative 54? Multiply to negative 54 and add to 15. Okay, well this must be 9 and 6. It must be 9 and 6. Must be. Yes, it is. Stop shaking your head. It has to be, because 54 and 15. So you try it. You try your 9 and your 6. And okay, it's got to be negative, so that's got to be like that. But then they don't add to 15, so you got to do that. But then they don't multiply to negative 54, so you got to do that and that and that. And it doesn't work. So sometimes you swear, and don't swear, that 2 numbers work. You got to get over it. They actually don't work. It just seems like 1,000% 9 and 6 are going to work. And they don't. So get over it. Don't get your head to explode. What are the numbers that multiply to negative 54? Was it negative 54? And add to positive 15. David.
Positive 18 and negative 3.
Wow, good job. Okay, so yeah, there is. You just got to get over it. And those are certainly not common numbers. How do you get them? If you don't know 18 times 3 equals 54, you just do 54 divided by 3 in the calculator and see if they have a difference of 15. And they do in that case. Okay, this is, make sure you have the right sign on that one, and make sure you realize that if it's a positive product and a negative sum, you're talking about 2 negative numbers. You can also do it vice versa. H, I want to do this one. Not so much because of the answer, which is negative 6 and negative 6 multiplied to 36, and that's negative 12. But on multiple choice, you probably won't see that answer. What would you likely see on a multiple choice? Good job. Good job. A subtract 6, all squared. Everyone say A subtract 6, all squared? That's how you say it. A subtract 6, all squared. And then this one, I heard some good pre-class conversation about, what's the GCF? What's the GCF on this one?
Minus 3.
Good job. Yeah, you have to take a negative out when the first term is negative, so that you get m squared, not negative m squared. Makes sense, right? Because sum product only is when you have x squared, not when you have negative x squared. If you have negative x squared, you take a negative 1 out. So here you have to divide everything by negative 3, which is a little tricky, because you might put negative 6m and negative 8, but if you distribute this, you should get back to your original trinomial. And then you're not done. Kind of feels like you're done. You're not done. Don't be done. In Bermuda, they say done. Hey, done. What's up, done? It's true. It's like their word for bud or something. And then in New Jersey, they say, how's it going? So I was in New Jersey. Someone says, how's it going? I'll tell them my life story because I don't know anyone. They just walk right by me and say, oh, what? And that's how they say hi. How's it going? I don't expect any words from you. Just walk by. All right. And yeah, and this is Kitty Cat and 2. Any questions on night 14-21 so far? Don't forget GCF. Tomorrow you have a quiz on sum product and GCF sum product and anything else we did. Okay, but it's mainly focused on being sum product. What's up, David?
So you said that for some product you can never have a negative x squared or negative x squared or whatever like that, right?
Yes.
So what about
You take a negative one to be a GCF sum product.
so the negative m squared thing only applies to GCF sum product?
Yeah. Yeah, or decom, which is coming up in 2 days. Ooh, I don't like being challenged. I don't like being challenged on a podcast. Get out. Okay. This one, you have to recognize this as a sum product. And then you do one little thing. But first of all, what in the world? I don't know 2 numbers that multiply to negative 96 and add to negative 4. And you don't have to. Because, again, make sure you call your calculator a pet name. So mine is Sue. You don't need to know what multiplies to 96. Sue does. I need to move this. Okay, there we go. So 96 divided by 2 equals 48. That's not going to work. 96 divided by 4. We need a difference of 4. That's not going to work. That's a difference of 20. What about 96 divided by 8? Does that work? 8 and 12? Part of your multiplication table anyway. So it's 8 and 12. Which one's negative? Good. Are we done? Good start. Good start, good start, good start. But if we FOIL this, we certainly do not get Dr. T squared. Okay, so what do we need to do? Thank you. Very good. You need to put an N in the last term of each bracket. If you FOIL this, then you get your MNs, and then you get your subtract 96 nacho cheese squared. Now I'm creating nacho cheese squared. Speaking of which, look at this. I'm so excited I don't want to eat it though. Made the sandwich of the year. Quadruple ham, quadruple turkey, 6 pieces of cheese. I just stare at it. It's like 25 pounds. Okay, maybe I should eat that after school. So it doesn't matter if I'm able to move or not. Anyways, this one. Negative 27. Usually 72 is 8 times 9. Not this time. What is it? Pardon me? Okay. Negative 24 and negative 3. And then add the y, add the y. Check, check. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Don't forget, there's a little trick the biggest thing you need to know is when you see this on the test, you have to recognize it's a sum product question because it starts with x squared. Just put them in the brackets. One little adjustment, add the variables to the second term of each bracket to get your y squared right there. That's the only way you're going to get y squared when you do FOIL with the L part. Right, man? Right. All right. Okay, go to page 11, and let's do these 5 questions, but I'm going to change 2 of them. So, let's cross out D. Instead of putting that, put 5m plus 1 times 5m subtract 1. I'll make it even easier for you. And C, I'll make it harder for you by adding a 4 in front of those 2 binomials. Okay? So another practice, more practice on multiplying polynomials. Go ahead and take, I don't know, 8-ish minutes, and we'll come back if you're doing the podcast. Pause, and do these, and then unpause to see the answers. All right, here we go. Again, I just told some funny jokes, and kids fell off their desk, suffered mild concussions, had dimples on their nipples. And now we're going to a little less exciting factoring, but still awesome. FOIL, FLA. First right here, C is distribute and then FOIL, or FOIL distribute, but I think most of us said we'd rather do it FOIL into the first bracket, and then distribute it in the first bracket, and then FOIL. FLA in D, when you have the exact same binomials with different signs, because your middle terms will always cancel. And then E. So go ahead and correct those. Let's look at this one. Are those like terms? XY and YX, so they have the exact same letter parts. Did a good job. A lot of head shakers, and I like the challenge. You should actually be shaking your head this way, up and down. They are the same. AB means the same thing as BA because multiplication is commutative. So 3 times 2 equals 2 times 3. You can switch them around. Same thing with addition. So if you have XY or YX, it's the exact same thing. XY is the same thing as YX. So this is the exact same thing as negative 4XY, and you can collect those like terms, and you have to collect those like terms. Okay, so start this one. Your final answer here is 8x squared, subtract 2xy, put it in alphabetical order, subtract y squared. But we did that one. All these good? Blue one good? And then this one is a little easier than the other green one. I'm just putting this because it's not in order, so make sure you put your answer in descending order. X squared first, then x's, then numbers at the end, or constants at the end. So this would be 15 nacho cheese squared, then negative 12 subtract 10 is negative 22, keep the nacho cheese, and plus Frosty. Hands up. Oh, you want me to put a carrot? Okay, sure. Here. Is that okay? Good idea. So. Yeah, it's easier to factor this way. So usually it's descending order of x's, so x squared, then x. Now, if you have 2 other variables, it just depends on how you want to. You have 2 other variables, I'm not going to make a big deal of it. But if you have x's and y's, put the x first, because we already saw when we factored those guys, those plus ones, that the m came before the n. So you go, I guess, in alphabetical order, descending of the variables. But I could ask you to put it in descending order of the y's, and that would be the reverse. But we're not going to worry about that. Hi.
C.
Yep.
If we got 8x squared minus x minus 15, would that equal the same thing then? Because if you divided the negative 4 by 4 and 60 by 4, it would.
You mean you took GCF out of here?
Yeah.
Okay, if you did that, you have to tell me you did that. You can't put it equal. So So if you did this, I think this is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You can't say 8x squared equals 2x squared. You'd have to put a 4 in. So if you did that, it says FOIL and expand, so you don't really want to it doesn't say factor, so you would do this if it said factor. It said create brackets. So you just leave this as a trinomial, but very good question. You'll get on the board for a chocolate bar draw on Friday. Best day of your life. She agrees. Okay, let's do grouping. Grouping is get a separate piece of paper out or a notebook, and we're going to do grouping here. Yeah, that's a bad row for spillages today. Must be the wind. Okay, here's grouping. I call grouping slice and dice. Don't see grouping as a long question. See it as two easy GCF questions. Now let's write that out before I get to a blank page. Okay, so I want you to do these ones first. Factor. We've already done this section. 9x plus 6 and z squared. Okay. Z squared. Negative 4x squared, subtract 8x. Give you 3 minutes and 2 seconds to do those. Pause, 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 pause. Okay, let's do these ones, GCF questions. If you can do these ones, you can do grouping. That's all grouping is. But as previously stated, this Coca-Cola tastes so good. I can say so good. Even more than a regular one, because this one was given to me by Mr. Humphrey, who lost a bet when the Flames beat the Oilers. So that was a good thing about today. The bad thing about today is, can you believe I had a student in the first period who was so bored from my class, she left and went out in minus 72-degree weather to wake up. Wow. I cried a little bit. But I'm over now. You guys look engaged. How do we get the, what's the GCF here? Is it 3x or 3? Good job. So you can't take an x out because this term does not have an x. So that's all you do for that GCF question. You're done. No, nothing else to do. This one, take out a negative 4, x or x squared? Smallest exponent, good job. And then what's left over, x plus 2 or subtract 2? Good job. And then you can double check. I got my negative 4x squared, I got my negative 8x. I didn't make a sign mistake. Bravo. I'm going to 30 seconds to write that down so I can go back to the grouping questions. And I'm going to change them up, add the whole bunch, and do a lot of questions first. Again, I don't love the way this is organized. All right, but anyways, let's move down here, and we're doing grouping now. Maybe have to extend the page once. That should be it. Okay, so the first one I want to do is this one. So let's call this number 1A on your handouts. Call this number 2A. And I want you to try this one. And it says factor. Okay, so try 1A, at least the one I put as 1A now. I'll give you 44 seconds. That's not Trent. Mayday. Okay, let's play some Wheel of Fortune. Don't get bankrupt. Okay, let's roll. Let's see who's going first. 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You guess the letter, and then you got 5 seconds to guess the words. Do not guess. This is your turn, or you will not win the big $1,000 of fake money, which you can trade in for gold. One piece. Guess the letter. Guess the letter. This is 2 words. What? Alphabet. Guess any letter in the alphabet. A. Yeah, you got something going on here. Good guess. Good guess. Okay, now the hard part, you have to guess what 2 words that says. Oh, he's trying though. Good job. Nah. E. You guys are so chicken. Good job. You owe me $150. $50. Is it $50 of value? You owe me $150. Okay, guys, 2 words. Oh, he's trying to. Good job. Don't say it out loud. You gave it away. You still may come back. Nope, not your turn. Next. M. L. There's no L. I like your faces though. Hey, come on. Mayday, mayday.
He goes to Curious, like, no, stop. Ow.
Okay. Surely I can X this out. Good. Back to my funny joke. No L. No L. I am funny. Okay. Is that what we had? Yes. Okay.
F.
F. Nope.
T.
Nope.
T.
E. Oh, don't say anything, please, unless it's your turn. You got 10 seconds to guess these 2 words.
C.
No, you have to guess the words. Better. Nope. No.
R.
R. Don't say anything. 10 seconds.
Create bracket.
Oh, nailed it. Create brackets. Zip. Okay. So, what are you guys doing distributing and collecting like terms? This said factor. It said create brackets, not get rid of brackets. So for this one, star it and put do not distribute. As it says factor. You're used to doing this question for a year, distributing and collecting like terms. Not so much anymore. You're in grade 10. You do not do that. Anyone have a clue how to do this question? Because I don't. I don't know. Yeah?
Group of like terms together, so like put A plus 4 together
goodness, what a genius. You got that on your own? Holy. I think she got a Harry Potter book that had all the answers in it. Wow, good job. Yes, yes, yes. So just like when we did a question like this, we just did them, but I'm not sure what they were. You know what? Never mind. This is what they were. Just like we took a GCF out of these two terms, something that's common to both terms, we go back here and take out a GCF. Wow, brilliant. Good job, Hada. I mean, Harmony, I can't say that name. Harmony. Never mind. You take out a GCF, not a 3 though. You take out a binomial. They both have an a plus 4. So you take an a plus 4 out. And then whatever's not an a plus 4, whatever's the leftovers, you put in the other bracket. So 2a plus 3. So cool. Now it's easy, right? But who the heck would have seen that besides Mrs. Potter? No one, Mrs. Weasley. She Mrs. Weasley.
Mrs. Weasley? Really?
Well, she married him. Right? Right. Okay. I'm going to call her Mrs. Weasley because I can say that name. Hermione. Oh, I don't know. What is it? See, that is Harmony? Hermione? Hermione. She's miney. She's minor. Hermione. Maybe. I don't know. Guess this is 20 minutes conversation. Maybe you should do this. Let's move on. Okay, so that question, let me get rid of Wheel of Fortune, and I do owe you some. You want $1,000 fake money or a piece of gum?
Both.
Okay, no problem there. So this one, just again, because there was a whole bunch of chicken scratch. Go ahead and write down the leftovers, that's how I call them, or anything that's not a plus 4, you write into the other bracket, okay? Now we're not going to D yet, I'm going to add a B first, so let's go over here and add this question, do this question, now that you know how to do it. So factor this one, please. Write it down, and you should get the answer in 33 seconds. Instead of going back to the page, I'm just going to write down the questions. It's going to be easier to follow along just by writing the questions down. And you write them in your book or a piece of paper. Okay, so if you're not sure what's going on, listen up carefully. So you see these both have an x plus 2. They both have a common binomial, so you're going to take the x plus 2 out, just like we took a 3 or a 5 out. Take it out in front, then everything that's not an x plus 2, you're going to put into the other bracket. So 4x subtract 5, go here. And if you FOIL this and distributed and collected these like terms on the first question, you would get the exact same answer. They're equal. So cool. Okay, let's do a little bit of a variety of these now. Where those ones, those are free marks. You want to get all those every time. I'm feeling redness. Go Jets. I mean, go Flames. No, go Jets. Go Jets in football. And in hockey when they're not playing the Flames. Okay, let's go ahead and do this one. X subtract 1 times x subtract 1. Subtract 5. And again, this is important. You know that the question is factor. The question is to create brackets, not get rid of brackets. That's why we're not distributing and collecting like terms. If it said simplify, that's when we would distribute and collect like terms and we'd be done. But this says factors, so we have to keep brackets. Okay, go ahead and try that one. And this one. Peace. You don't get $1,000. He does not want to go with you. Here's the giant prize. You can still spin the wheel. Yeah, sure do, sure. Wrong game show. Okay, C. Everybody think they know how to do it? Somebody on this side-ish, or middle. Or that side. Okay, shoot. Somebody.
So it would be x times 1.
Huh?
X just -5.
Good try. But you can't take 2 x subtract 1s out of here and just 1 out of here. So you can only take 1 x subtract 1 out, so what's left over? This and this. Okay, so what's left over? X subtract 1, subtract 5. Which,
Only take 2 of the same kind.
yeah, and there's 2 here as well. Okay, but there's only 1 x subtract 1 here, so you can't take more than 1 out of here. It's the greatest common factor. Just like if you have 1 x here and x squared here, you can only take 1 x out because there is only 1 x. And then this one, you simplify. You don't leave it like this. You put x subtract 6. Okay, x subtract 1 subtract 5 is x subtract 6. Super duper fun. I agree. Anybody want to do this one we haven't done yet? Thank you.
Is it x subtract 7 in brackets?
No brackets, say times. Close. Plus 1. There's our imaginary 1 right here. So you put plus 1. Now we know. I don't care if you know how to do it now, then. I do not care if you know how to do it now. Okay, so that's how you do this guy. That's how you do this guy. Any questions on this guy or that guy? Just get on my way, boss. Okay. So write those down. Okay, let's try E on your own. Try E. Blue. Go ahead and factor 3a times x subtract 6, subtract 9 times a subtract 6, not x, a subtract 6. Not too bad. I would argue super fun. Who needs Netflix or Xbox? Nobody. Well, we need the planes. Okay, so this one, you take this common binomial out, a subtract 6, and whatever is not a subtract 6, you put it into the other bracket. And that is how you get 75%. Or you might get 0, because I might say, how many factors are there? And the answer is actually 3. So you have to investigate. Anybody see what I'm talking about? Anyone have a clue what's going on here? Yeah, you're on the right track, but just in this binomial. Yeah, you can take the 3 out. So you can take a 3 out of this. So just like we took when I said factor, and we did this guy, or I think we did it actually over here. We just took a 3 out of here. That's what we can do with inside the bracket now. We can take a 3 out of here. So this would become a subtract 6. This would become 3 times a subtract 3. Okay? Now I'm going to put this at the end, or you can put a subtract 3 at the end, but you're going to put your number first. So this is the same thing. So this would be the answer on the multiple choice. And if I said, if fully factored, how many factors are there? There'd be 3, not 2. This is hard to see, but you have to ask, is there a GCF in a bracket or in a binomial? If there is, you have to take it out. Now, usually you don't have to have that problem if you take a GCF out at the beginning of the question, which is what I'm going to be telling you to do every single time. The first step to factoring is to take a GCF out. But in this case, there's nothing you can do. You've got to recognize, and it's hard to recognize, that you can take a 3 out, study star that guy. That one isn't as easy as it looks. F. Let's do this one together. 2x times x subtract 5 plus 5 times 5 subtract x. So it says factor. You're like, hey, ooh. This is almost the same, but it's not exactly the same. And certainly you can't just move the numbers, because 7 subtract 9 is not the same thing as 9 subtract 7. One's negative 2, one's positive 2. Subtraction is not commutative. You can't just flip them. However, if you do flip them, you always know the relationship is the same number, just with a different sign. So if you do flip them, you can add a negative sign to make them equal. And that's what we're going to do here. When we have something that is subtraction, note here, if this was x plus 5, and the other one was 5 plus x, those are equal. You can flip them, because 3 plus 2 equals 2 plus 3, because addition is commutative. So you can just flip them and don't do anything. They're equal. If you had this, they are equal. So write that down. So this doesn't apply to addition. If you have addition in a different order, you can just flip them around at any time. They're equal. They're the same. But subtraction, you can see, is not equal. One is equal to negative 2, and one is equal to positive 2. So how you do this is you change this sign. And then you can switch the subtraction. Now we'll continue to make it equal. Okay, so leave the red stuff. Well, we'll continue to use red here. And the switch comes in this sign. If it's addition, changes to subtraction. If it's subtraction, it changes to addition. And then you're able to switch the 5 subtract x into x subtract 5. Now, go ahead and finish it like we did most of the previous ones. So study star that one. That's only for subtraction. Subtraction isn't commutative. Now you take out an x subtract 5. And whatever is not x subtract 5, I call them the leftovers, goes into the other bracket. Then you look, can you take a GCF here? Can you take a 2? Is it 2x subtract 6? So you can take a 2 out? No, 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 that's it. Done. Whew! This is hard work. I think I burned like 5 calories on that question. Oh, at least I don't have to. I can eat 12 pieces of pizza now. Where's my extend? Please keep extending. There we go. Okay, so that's that question. That was F. Go ahead and do G. Please. When you're done G, try and I know someone is going to figure it out. Or a few people will figure it out. And if you don't figure it out, you still get smarter for trying. Okay, so take 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes to work on those. Pause, 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 and then unpause when you're ready. Okay, so my bad, let's not do H until we do number 1, or number 2, pardon me. But we did do this one. So this one, you change this sign and you flip these guys because they're subtraction. If this was x plus 7 and 7 plus x, you can just switch it and not do anything because they're the same thing. But when it's a subtraction, you need to change this sign, otherwise you can't flip it or it won't be equal, and this is important. When you put equal signs, they better be equal. Now x subtract 7 times 9x plus 3, and we're done, right? No, did you recognize? Tricky licky. There is a 3 you can take out of here. So x subtract 7 times 3 times x plus 1, and then just rewrite that with the 3 first. Doesn't matter what binomial you put next. Can I get that full answer? Yes, sir? 3x, if I said. Let me finish, please. Thank you. 3 times 3x plus 1 times x subtract 3. Thank you very much. 3 factors. David's on the board again. I hope he doesn't win. No one likes a 2-time chuck mark there. Okay, we'll come back to H. My bad. I'm 1 step ahead of us. So that one has 2 things, but usually if you just rearrange it, you don't have to. You'll be done here, but in this case, you can take a 3 out of the 9x plus 3. And let's go to number 2, which is in your handout, but there's no sense doing it because I've changed most of the questions, so let's just write them here. We'll come back to H. So 2A. This is kind of the real type of grouping question. You got AB plus AC plus XB plus XC. Usually there's numbers and variables. This one doesn't. So what can you take out of each term? Take out an A? Nope. These don't have A's. You taking out X? Nope. These ones don't have X. So you slice and dice it. You can't take a GCF out of all 4 terms, but you can take a GCF out of these 2 terms, and you can take a GCF out of these 2 terms. And that's exactly what we'll be doing. Okay, so you pretend this isn't even there. Pretend this is just a question. Factor it. What can you take out of both? You take an A out. What's left over? B plus C. Again, if you want to divide both terms by A, you can do that. You had one A, you took it out, so there's no A's over here. Now what the heck did this say? XB plus XC. And now, pretend this isn't even there. And take out, or pretend this is the only question. What can you take out? The GCF is X. What's left over? B plus C. And for these fancy grouping questions, if you did that properly, look what happens. You have a common binomial that's going to be exactly the same. So go ahead and finish that off before I do. I'll give you 9 seconds. Take out the common binomial, write down the leftovers into the other bracket. Whew, this is fun. So British Columbia goes there. Paul Bunyan goes there. Huh? They're laughing, by the way. Hilarious. That's it. So that's our first grouping question, all the steps. Slice and dice, GCF for the first 2 terms, GCF for the last 2 terms. If you did it properly, you're going to have a common binomial to take out. And you've you've factored, you've created brackets. All right, let's do another couple. 2B. (8x squared). This is more of a common question than the other one. So, you can take an x out. Oh, you can't. This stupid term doesn't have an x. So you can't take an x out of everything. Oh, you can take a... No, you can't. You have to slice and dice this one. You take GCF out of the 2 blue terms and take the GCF out of the last green terms. So, one step at a time, ignore the green. Let's just concentrate on blue. I can take a 2 out, smallest exponent, take an x out. Question? And what's left over? 2x times what equals 8x squared. 2x times what equals negative 2x. Ignore the blue dot. It's not a fancy math symbol, even though it kind of looks division-y. Now you take out the GCF. What's the GCF of 12x and negative 3? Just a 3. What's left over? You divide each term by 3. Well, you're very happy with that, because look what happens. Yes. So go ahead. You know grouping. You basically know how to do decomp, which is our longest process of factoring. Go ahead and finish it off, please. And this is good stuff. It's not AP stuff. We do the exact same thing in Math 10C, so don't get too proud of yourself. That's it. Check, check. Gotcha. All right, you're going to have 2 questions like this. Slice and dice them, and then you should have, if you take the greatest common factor out. Anyone still writing that down? We're good? Okay. So do C, please. And D. And now I'll let you think about H, which I'll write down again, but you don't have to. If you have any questions, please put your hand up. Pause the podcast until you're ready to crack those guys. Man, I was teaching good and I didn't even record it. Oh well. Jeez, I can't remember all the great stuff I said. So sorry, I corrected C. I guess the one thing I did say, if you're on the podcast, is that if you take a 2 out or a 3 out, your bracket's not going to match up, your common binomial. That just means you didn't take the greatest common factor out. So just double check. If you take a 2 or 3 out, realize that you can take a 6 out of both those numbers. That's the GCF. Okay, slice and dice D. We already said something about taking negative GCFs out if it starts with a negative. Okay, so take a 4A out. You got 2a subtract 1. And this one, you don't take a 5 out, you take a negative 5 out. To get 2a plus 1, make sure that works. It gives you negative 10a plus 5. That doesn't work. I need a plus 5. Negative 5 times plus 1 is negative 5. So I have to change the sign. And of course, you need the same bracket. So you got a negative 1 there. Now the other, if you don't like that way, and that's the way I'm going to do it, but if you don't like that way, if you don't like your signs, this is the bracket you need, so you can kind of work backwards and put your 2a plus 1, subtract 1 there, and then ask yourself, what times 2a gives you negative 10a? And then just double check to see that negative 5 times negative 1 equals positive 5. I'm not going to do it that way, but if that's easier for you, go ahead. Anybody get that answer? Or vice versa? Good stuff. Lastly, is H. Looking at H. What can you take out of the first two terms? A 1. That doesn't help us. So this, if you see this on the test, just write down impossible. You don't want to take more than 5 seconds on each question. So if you don't get it in 5 seconds, just go on and leave it blank. Isn't that a good attitude? Or figure it out. God bless you, the big fat math brain. You use it. So let's maybe not give up. Of course, sometimes you're going to not get them. That's okay, as long as you try your hardest. But this one, let's figure it out. If you have this one on the test, what would you do? Somebody. Don't tell me no one knows. Go ahead. Rearrange. That's exactly what you do. Now, there's several ways you can rearrange it. If you rearrange the middle terms, it's always going to work. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm always just going to rearrange the middle terms. And why do we rearrange it? Because we can't take a GCF out of 5x squared and 8y squared. There's no number, there's no variable to take out. So let's rewrite this guy and then give you 2 minutes to finish this one on your own. Just make sure you bring the subtraction sign with that term. Remember, terms start with addition and subtraction signs. Do not put 15xy squared. It has to be subtract 15xy squared. Okay, go ahead and slice and dice. I think I see something else that's not going to be a little extra work for us. I want to give you some homework time. What is going on here? Well, I don't know what's going on here. This doesn't look like it's a question. Did I mess up? I might have messed up. I don't think I did. Oh, there's a y squared here.
X and Y can't go together.
Is that all I messed up? Because it's still not going to work. Like
Yeah,
it
because
should.
the second term Y and X don't, Y squared and X don't fit together to create a common unless you're using numbers.
I just think it's a wrong.
Basic.
I just don't think it's the question that I wanted. That's the question that was in the textbook, though. There's typos in the text. All right, Mayday. Okay, so we have nominated a new H, and let's not do that one, not because it wasn't fun, and not because we didn't learn how to rearrange, but let's do one that works all the way through. Okay, so go ahead and rearrange this guy. I just switched the middle terms, otherwise you can't take a GCF for the first two terms. And I have no idea where I got that question, but that might have been my mistake. I might have written it down wrong, but I think it was more of a typo than me, because I don't like blaming myself for anything. Why start now? I'm 85 years old. Let's kind of go step by step here. So first step, I'm going to rearrange the middle terms. Does that sound good to anyone? Is that what you guys got? Second step, I'm simply going to go like that. Slice and dice. So go ahead and do this step. Take the GCF for those two terms in red. Take it 30 seconds to do that. Don't take a 2, take a 4 out. Go ahead, I'll give you 20 seconds to do this one, which is a little easier in blue. Seems like this is H, but no, it's not. Take a 5 out. Hey, that's more like it. And now, what do we notice? Our brackets are almost the same, but it's subtraction and they're in different order. So go ahead and learn that rule we learned. Change the sign and flip these two terms of that bracket. Start of this one. I used to be such a nerd. I used to have I had a question in university that had about 14 steps. I put it on my wall. I hung it up like a poster of Bo Jackson or Princess Leia or Nami. I had a 14-step math question. No, I love it. I put it like the most challenging, best, awesome, perfect math question in the world. Love it. It's true. I wish I had it. I probably do have it somewhere in the bag. So this one stays the same. This one, you change this sign. And now you're able to call this equal if you flip subtraction. Extend page for the last time today. Now we have the exact same binomials. We got an x subtract 3y squared, and look how fun this is. You might want to put this on a piece of paper and hang it in your room. Check! Check. Hi.
Does it matter which which thing outside of the bracket we change the step for? Because if we reverse the other one, it will equal the same thing as the
I would
second.
reverse the second one just to keep it in order. If you do it and I can follow it, you'll get the same answer. I'll mark it right. You can also rearrange this differently. You can put 4x squared and negative 5x together, and you'll get the exact same answer. I just always rearrange the middle terms because that's all you'll ever have to do. But if you like the 4, well, I guess that's the only option. You can have it with this one or with that one. Okay, either way, you'll get the same answer. And yeah, if you get the same answer a different way, as long as it's mathematically sound, we will mark it right. Give you full marks. And give you fake $1,000 bills. Homework. Here's your homework for today. Write these down and do them. It says factor. blocking your view. It's kind of the progression of what today's class was. And now L on, you're going to have full-fledged grouping, which means you have 4 terms. Occasionally you have to rearrange. What a coincidence that I'm doing this now. I bet you this is the one we just did. Is that the one we just did? Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, feels like we just did that one, but I've been assured that that's not the same one as H. The real H. That's the exact same one as H. Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Maybe. Okay, continuing, and I didn't erase anything, is M, 4b squared plus 3 apples, subtract 12 bananas, subtract apple banana. And lastly, nacho cheese, x squared, subtract 15x, subtract 4x, that's city. 60, that's your homework. And we'll see you wonderful Wednesday. We're going to start Wednesday with the sum product quiz. God bless. Have an awesome day. Ha ha ha. Safe.